The Rip City Drive.
And this is pretty cool. We got to go out to the phones right now. There's a new documentary out on Bigfoot. It's called A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed. And our caller right now is Brett, who I believe is the director behind this. Brett, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan. I listen just about every day.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's amazing.
So what did you hear the phone call from John?
So I just picked up the tail end of it. My friend Mike called me and said, they're talking about Bigfoot. And I tuned in and just got the tail end of the UFOs and the Bigfoot and stuff. But I was like, man, I got to chime in. I got to let you guys know that Bigfoot's real. This thing is real.
Well, seriously. Do you have footage?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Well, tell us about your documentary. And, Chris told us about this, but A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed. Give us the details on it.
Okay, so it came out just this summer. We were the number one documentary on Amazon over the summer. The majority of it was shot here in Oregon. I'm a native Oregonian, as long as the producer and the cinematographer who helped me do this documentary, they are all native Oregonians themselves, and so we've always had this fascination with Bigfoot. And so we went out there and we started interviewing people, and we had some healthy skepticism because we've never seen one. And the more we talked to people, the more credible they were. And so what we did is we put together this 90-minute documentary. We actually focus on other parts of the country that have Bigfoot sightings as well. As it turns out, they're all over the United States.
So what type of footage and details did you get as you continued your investigation in developing the documentary?
So we got some video that hasn't been seen by anybody. We got one of the best shots in the documentary is of a wildlife cam that was down near Coos Bay, Oregon, that caught one, and we're able to do a kind of analysis showing a deer that was caught on the camera versus the Bigfoot, and we could tell that the Bigfoot was about 6.5 feet tall. And the way that you can tell that, it's a guy in a suit versus not a guy in a suit is the Bigfoot have really, really long arms past their knees. It's almost strange looking. The witnesses that have seen them in real life that's one of the takeaways is how long their arms are. And we also have, some folks whose lives have been changed because of what they saw for, 30 seconds. A lot of these people have seen this for 30 seconds and their lives have completely changed. They become obsessed with it and they want to see another one. So we concentrate on the psychological aspect, the trauma that comes with seeing a Bigfoot. And to me, that was a lot of evidence that a lot of people haven't really been talking about.
Yeah, Brett, I'm kind of curious, too. They must be shy by nature because they always seem to be out of sight, and then they don't seem to want to harm humans. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. So, there's been some aggressive eyewitness accounts, but there's also been some really crazy stuff like folks that live on big, huge pieces of property out in rural areas that have started gifting exchanges with big feet. And I know some people might be giggling about that, but it's true, and there's really no other real great explanation as to why these things are happening. It's not like it's a neighbor kid or something. But for the most part, when people see them, they're curious about us. And so they will kind of observe humans and then they will take off. They will hide. And so that's part of why you don't get good, crystal clear photos of them, is because it's like our title. They're gone in a flash of beauty.
So I'm curious, Brett, for you, did you already believe in Bigfoot before you started putting the documentary together? How did this develop for you over the course of time?
So I was very, very interested in Bigfoot. I would say I was about 90% there. Just growing up in Oregon and hearing stories of loggers and stuff and the mythology behind it. I always felt like there had to be something. People say that there's always some truth in legends. And I started kind of working my way, my wife and I started working our way into the community of Bigfoot, folks that had seen them and witnessed them. we're filmmakers, so we do other films and whatnot. And so we decided that, we had these great resources that we should actually just do a documentary on it. The documentary would be a way of opening the doors for us to kind of answer some of these questions. And that's exactly what it did. And I feel like after this whole process over the last couple of years, we've turned into 100% convinced that they're real.
Is there other visible evidence that they exist? Do you have footprints? Do you have signs that they've been around? I mean, what do they eat? Do they leave residue of what they eat? What's going on with that?
There's all of those different things to it. There's, people have found scat. People have found
that's what I was looking at.
These tree structures. Yeah, the footprints, of course, are the most famous, and the footprints are actually some of the best evidence because you have these dermal ridges, which are kind of like a fingerprint, if you will, in the foot. And there's certain things about the footprints that scientists can look at and know that they most likely haven't been hoaxed, unless they've been hoaxed by somebody who is very familiar with how a foot works. And a Bigfoot foot is different than a human foot. So, the human foot has the arch, and the Bigfoot it's more, it's flatter, and obviously it's bigger, and not always bigger, because sometimes you get juvenile footprints too. But those are some of the best pieces of evidence. The other evidence is audio. People hear howls. They'll get recordings of these, and these screams and howls don't really match up to anything else in the animal kingdom.
Wow. Do you where in Oregon, like Chris Burkhart's father's obsessed with him, where in Oregon is the best place for him to go? Do you have an idea of what the most Bigfoot populous place is in Oregon?
Yeah, it's right in our backyard. Estacada, just east of Estacada near Brighton Bush Hot Springs is a great place. Anywhere near the Mountain National Forest, there's been there's an area out there called the Bigfoot Highway. And there's been a ton of sightings out there. The Oregon Coast Range, we do a couple of features on some major sightings that have happened in the Oregon Coast Range. One was a broad daylight sighting by 7 loggers, that just saw one walking down the road like it didn't have a care in the world. So Southern Oregon is very popular with Bigfoot enthusiasts. There's a lot of sightings down near Cave Junction in that area. So they're not too hard to find.
Where would somebody go to look at your documentary?
We are on Amazon.com right now. You can rent it on Amazon. We're also on Tubi. We're not too hard to find, unlike Bigfoot. We're also on iTunes and Google Play and some of the other places that you go to stream or rent videos.
Oh, this is great. I'm going to watch it tonight, Brett. I
Me too.
appreciate this. How rewarding is it? And, when you put together a film like this and then you start to get the reaction, it looks like the feedback and the reviews on this documentary on Bigfoot have been great. But what's it like for you to go through that process to put a story together and then get feedback?
Oh, man, I can't even tell you. That's the reward for us is, we've had people that have come up to us literally at some of the screenings that we've done, local screenings. They've come up to us and they've thanked us for doing something like this because they know that they're in good company. They know that they're not crazy. Because a lot of these people will see this 10-foot tall giant hairy beast and they keep it to themselves.
Yeah, because
it's a traumatic event.
Yeah, because if you come out and say, dude, I think I just saw Bigfoot, they're like, yeah, you're a kook.
You've had too much to drink.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're trying to change that. There's actually a very interesting sociological event happening all across the United States where we're finding out that a lot of people are like 2 to 3 degrees separation from a Bigfoot witness. Like your uncle or your grandpa or something. These guys that are like, I saw something, but I don't want to talk about it.
I thought you were going to say 2 to 3 degrees separation from being Bigfoot. That would have been really something.
That could be true, too. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. And I got to add, too, you guys, I really want to see Bigfoot come back as like a partial mascot for the Blazers.
Yeah.
Because I remember
that makes
those
more
days.
sense.
I'd love to see that happen again.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I think that's a terrific idea. Did they used to do that?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. Do you remember that, Brett, when they
Back in the day, yeah.
Well, Well, Brett,
I do. I remember it fondly.
Oh, my goodness. Brett, I'm so glad that you called in. And I want to tell everyone again the name of the movie that he put together, A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed, and it's available at Amazon. And you got to go check it out. Brett, you made the show better today for calling in, my friend.
Oh, thank you guys. I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. Huge fan. I'll keep listening, and everybody go out and look for Bigfoot.
All right. Hey, before you go, I'm going to have Chris get your information because we may want to have you back on, especially after you get a chance to watch the film.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll put you on hold and get your information, and there you go.
That's cool. That is really cool.
That is cool. You know, you never know in your community, like, who's around and who's out there.
Yeah.
You've got filmmakers, you've got police officers, firefighters, all these different people that do so many different things. And who would have thought that this guy was in our backyard?
I know. Not only filmmakers, but a guy who did a film on Bigfoot. Doesn't get much better than that. Honestly, I can't wait to get home and watch it. I'm very anxious to see this.
I got to check it out. Let's go out. Ken is in Southeast. He wants to jump on board. Ken, welcome to the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. Fire away, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. There was something I wanted to talk about, but I got to say I'm all in on the Bigfoot move here. Listening to that scouting report, sounds like he's a little bit long-legged, so his wingspan may not be as big as we were thinking. But the Bigfoot indicates a large hand size. And I don't know. I think maybe throw him on a two-way or something like that.
Yeah. Anything we could do. The Blazers could use some added depth in the front court, man. So if you can get Bigfoot on board, if it's going to help them get more rebounds and inside scoring, I'm all about it.
Front court, back court, all the courts.
Yeah. My guess is Bigfoot can do a better job of finishing around the rim, too.
Well, that timid thing, that's a little worrisome, I mean,
we've got enough of that going on here. You don't like drafting a big guy only to find out he thinks he's a wing, I mean, talk to the Warriors about that, But hey, I just want to say, even though we're only 500 right now, I'm still all in on the change in the roster. I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm happy for CJ down in New Orleans right now. Happy for Norman down with the Clippers. I'm all in. I love Shaden. This will be a bumpy road this year, but before it was like no matter how you charted it, it looked like mediocre, and now I don't know where it's going. It's a little more interesting right now. Yeah,
anyway,
no doubt.
I'll go ahead and take it off the air.
No, you got it. We're going to get to this coming up here in a few minutes on where the team is at after the quarter pole. Ken, great phone call. A couple of people have tweeted at us, Godfather. Tony in Rip City says, hey, Chad, there's no way on God's green earth that Bigfoot is real. By now, a corpse or skeleton would have been found. So they found bones from BC but can't find a Bigfoot skeleton. And yet there's still foolish people that believe this old wise tale. Unbelievable. Paul chimes in and says, ask the guy, do the sightings increase exponentially with more peyote smoking? Peyote.
Let's be nice.
The crazy part is, Chad, A, it's cool just to believe in something, but B, you go out in the woods and you've lived here your whole life. You know that there's cougars out there. How often do you see a cougar? There's bears. How often do you see a bear?
That's true.
And if you follow science, there's new species being discovered every single day. So having this idea that maybe there's something out there that you don't know and it gets you going, I think that's cool.
There's still many life forms that, like you mentioned, are being discovered that we don't even know exist right now.